Welcome to Animeconomy. All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a single idea, an idea so powerful, it could literally change the way you see everything. I mean, seriously, what if? It sounds like the setup for some epic anime, right? A classic battle between destiny and your own will. But here's the thing, this isn't some made-up story. This is the stone-cold reality for millions, right now. Okay, just look at this place. Nogales. It's one city, but it's been sliced right in half by the US-Mexico border. On the north side, in Arizona, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a town in the States. Decent income, good health care, law and order, a future you can count on. But then you go just a few feet south, across that fence, and bam, the world just changes. Incomes are a tiny fraction of what they are in the north. Crime is way up, and things like good schools are a total luxury. Think about it. Same people, same culture, same geography. So what in the world is going on? Why are their lives so incredibly different? So you start thinking, well, it must be, right? You go for the easy answers. But the thing is, the explanations we always hear, they just don't hold up. So is it geography? Nope. The climate is exactly the same on both sides of that fence. Is it culture then? Or are some people just lazy? Absolutely not. They share the same history, the same background. Well, maybe their leaders just don't know any better. Wrong again. Oh, they know. They know exactly what they're doing. The real answer, it's something way bigger, something deeper. It's not about the people, and it's not about the land. It all comes down to the rules, the economic and political institutions that govern their lives. The very rules of the game they're forced to play every single day. Okay, so if life is a game, then every game has different rule books. And in this story, you've got two opposing forces, two totally different sets of rules that decide the fate of entire countries. Let's start with the villain of our story. They're called extractive institutions. Just picture a system that's been designed from the ground up by a tiny group of powerful people for that tiny group of powerful people. Their goal, it's not to make the economic pie bigger for everyone. No way. It's to grab the biggest slice for themselves, and they don't care who they have to step on to get it. But hey, every villain needs a hero, right? A force for good to fight against the darkness. And that's where inclusive institutions come in. These are the rules that do the opposite. They create a level playing field. They make sure your property is actually yours, that the law applies to everyone, rich or poor. They give you a real say in how things are run. Look, they don't guarantee you're going to be successful, but they do guarantee you get a fair shot. And that makes all the difference. And when you put them side by side like this, the difference is just night and day. In an inclusive system, you can have an idea and it's protected. The law is on your side, even if you're going up against someone powerful. The government actually builds things like schools and roads to help everyone succeed. But in an extractive system, forget about it. Your property could be snatched away. The law is just a tool for the elite. And good luck starting a business because a bunch of monopolies run by the powerful guy's buddies are going to block you at every single turn. This is maybe the perfect example of how it all works. You've got Bill Gates. He became a billionaire through pure innovation in an inclusive system. He had a great idea, he got a patent, and he competed in a fair market. Then you've got Carlos Slim in Mexico. He's also a genius, no doubt, but he got super rich in a very different way. Mostly by using his political connections to snap up state-owned monopolies. See? Two super smart guys playing two completely different games. The results for their countries, worlds apart. So you see, these rules aren't just some boring textbook concept. They literally shape people's lives. They forge destinies. And hey, if you're with me on this, if you believe that everyone, no matter where they're born, deserves a fair shot, do me a favor and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Okay, so the big question is, how does a country end up on one path instead of the other? It's not random. It often boils down to these huge, pivotal moments in history. The authors have a great name for them: critical junctures. Let's go way back to the 14th century, the Black Death. I mean, what a horrifying disaster, right? It wiped out almost half the population of Europe. But in all that tragedy, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, there was a massive labor shortage. And the peasants who survived, they had power. They had leverage for the first time in centuries. It was a massive crossroads for history. And this is where things get really interesting. In Western Europe, the peasants had already gained a few small rights. So they used this new leverage to push for more. And they got it. Better pay, more freedom, and the whole feudal system started to fall apart. This was the beginning of the road to inclusive institutions. But in Eastern Europe, the lords had way more power. They just crushed the peasant revolts and doubled down, creating an even worse system of serfdom. It's incredible. The exact same crisis led to two totally opposite outcomes. So why do the elites in these extractive systems fight so hard to keep things the way they are? Well, it's because they're terrified of one thing. It's called creative destruction. And this is the engine that drives all human progress forward. It's that unstoppable force of innovation, new ideas, new tech, that comes along and just blows up the old way of doing things. It's great for society as a whole, but for the old guard in charge, it's a direct threat to their power. Here's a classic example. Back in 1589, an inventor comes to Queen Elizabeth I with this amazing new knitting machine, and she says, "Nope." Why? Did she feel bad for the people who would lose their jobs knitting by hand? Not really. She was scared that all those unemployed people would cause chaos and threaten her power. And that's the bottom line. Extractive elites will always choose to protect their own power over progress for everybody else. And here's the kicker. Over time, these small differences in the rules don't just add up, they snowball, they multiply. Inclusive systems create something amazing, a virtuous circle. When people get a little bit of prosperity, it gives them the power to demand even better, fairer rules. And guess what? Those better rules lead to more prosperity. It's this awesome upward spiral. But extractive systems, they do the exact opposite. They trap people in a vicious circle. Poverty and fighting break out, and the elites just go, "See, we need more control." And they tighten their grip, pushing the whole country even further into the ground. If you want the most powerful, most heartbreaking example of this in the modern world, just look at Korea. After World War II, it was split in two. Same people, same history, same land. But they went down two totally different paths. The South chose inclusive, market-based rules and became a global economic powerhouse. The North, well, it became one of the most brutally extractive regimes ever known and descended into poverty and darkness. I mean, just look at a satellite photo of them at night. South Korea is just blazing with light, it's alive, it's buzzing with creation, and North Korea, it's just a black hole, a sea of darkness. That single image tells you everything you need to know. It's the entire argument of this book in one picture. The rules of the game, they are everything. But, and this is the most important part of this whole thing, this is the hope. A nation's path is not set in stone. It's not fate. It's not determined by geography or culture. It's the result of choices, of struggles, of millions of moments when ordinary people just like you and me, decided they had enough and stood up to change the rules. The systems we live in, they were built by people, and anything built by people can be changed by people. Those vicious circles, they can be broken. The game can be changed. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to one final simple question. A question for you. What role will you play? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Anime Economy and check the link in the description to get the book.